broadcasting from across the North American continent of the Terran Empire, bringing you our unpopular Star Trek opinions since 2020. This is Code 47.
Oh my gosh, we're back for a very special episode. No, Punky Brewster's not in it. Nobody's having their period. Of the Code 47 podcast. This is actually episode, you guessed it, 47 of our wonderful show that's been going for nearly a year now. We're about a month shy of 12 months, so it's very exciting.
So Charlie, does that make us an Easter egg? Are we in fact an Easter egg? Have we joined the 47 Easter eggs?
Yes, we have. You know, we were going to put a list together, guys. We didn't do it. Shame on us.
I have a question.
Yes.
It was Blossom that had her period. Did Punky Brewster have it too?
I always thought that it was Punky Brewster. But at any rate...
At least we're not going to the bike shop, okay? At least we're not going to the bike shop, guys.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's... okay, so very good. So anyway, I am Charlie Carden, your Trek Lord of Western Michigan, captain of the USS Grand Petoskey, a chapter of Starfleet International, the International Fan Club, joined as always by Erin, Rich, and Erin, my co-hosts on this wonderful journey into Trekkery. Guys, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, all right.
I'm nice and relaxed. I was at the beach this morning for like 5 hours, so that was nice.
I like it. Rich has turned into a kind of pastel colored blob with the letter R. So this has to do with the fact that he is a bit under the weather, but is such a trooper that he is still here with us.
I don't want you guys to see me wiping my nose every 3 seconds.
He does not. He confirmed he does not have COVID. He did get a COVID test.
Yep.
Everything's fine. He just has a mild cold, so that's good. But I hope you feel better because I miss your face.
Oh, thanks.
Indeed, your face is indeed missed. But without further ado, let us dance into the thing that we are here to talk about. Every week we bring you a couple of different things. First segment being talking about a Trek program that's on the airwaves, and then we have a great segment called Infinite Diversity, where we talk about a Star Trek program from the past that had some pretty awesome cultural significance, and then we jump into a little bit of news, and then we kind of move on down the road. Then, so at any rate, the new segment of the a new program that we have was episode 3 of season 2 of Lower Decks, the animated program that Erin had to suffer her way through after falling asleep. You did watch it again, right?
I did, and I didn't fall asleep this time. And Chris can confirm this, I laughed a mild chuckle when I saw the cat in the box.
That was terrific. So this was for me. They bounced back. I think they absolutely did kind of what they needed to do. But anyway, let's give it a short recap. So yeah, we had some fun stuff. We had kind of the ABC story going on, and this were the A story B. No, we did have an ABC story because we had Mariner and Tendi going on a mission together to get an item for the cat doctor, the cat who loves nachos. The chief medical officer. We also had, this was Boimler's first episode back, and he was dealing with struggles of being a part of the crew again, and not being able to have doors and stuff open for him. He couldn't order lunch, blah blah blah, which was kind of silly. And then we had the C story with I'm gonna forget the name of the engineer character, the robot dude.
Dude?
Yeah, who's the dude? Please, Rich, help me. Rutherford going through trying to dealing with death and figuring out that the Bajoran dude who sacrificed himself at the end of last season was Shax was somehow alive. So I loved this episode. I thought I try to watch these a second time just so I'm kind of prepared.
This is kind of interesting because the reviews of this are all that it's bad and it's worse than the first 2 episodes, but I actually thought it was better than the
Yeah,
first two, and so do you. And Rich,
yeah.
how do you feel about it?
I thought it was decent. I'm kind of checking out on this though. I don't know if it's just not holding my interest. I think like I said last week, it's just too much Family Guy stuff going on
Right.
for
Yeah,
me.
it definitely is, and I didn't say it was good
Right,
by
right.
any means, because I still don't like it. Like he said, I fell asleep and then had to do it all over again. But I liked it better than the first two. I hated Tom Paris's cameo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Um, I
dumb.
I also hated it.
I'm tired
So
of these cameos. Is
Yeah.
that all they have?
That's
well,
Family Guy. That's what Family Guy does.
It's
that
annoying.
that is very true. And again, I have a
Family
nit
Guy
to
and
pick.
Space Guys. That's what it is.
I, I have a nit to pick. It's been 5 years, 4 or 5 years at this point that Voyager has returned from the Delta Quadrant. Not one promotion for Tom Paris. He's still a lieutenant. That sucks.
That's your
That I
takeaway of
didn't like.
this?
That's my that is my hardcore. You know, it's funny. The source that I have is Den of Geek,
Yeah.
and that is my Den of Geek takeaway. I'm such a geek that I'm like, well, Tom Paris should, because in the relaunch novels, which are not canon, he was promoted to lieutenant commander and eventually became first officer of Voyager. So blah blah blah. But yeah, that annoyed me. The plate thing was funny. But again, we knew about that, and of course now there's actually a plate out there. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I get the plate now, and I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't make me like that. I still
The,
think it's dumb.
the plate thing reminded me of you, Charlie. It made me think of you.
it did
Yeah, it really did.
because I don't own any plates, so I don't really know why.
Because
I'm sure that there are plates in your home.
yeah. What do you eat off of,
Um,
Charlie? Come on.
of the uh, oh, you got me there. Okay,
All
I
right.
do eat off of plates. Damn it!
So
Damn it!
so because I felt like I was checking out of this, I started having my son take notes. He's not
Okay, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
He's not here,
Please.
but I can read you some of his notes. He
Yeah,
only has a few.
let's hear the child perspective like
Okay.
we did last week with
So,
Lexi.
so from the
Yes,
child
please.
perspective, he thought it was a good episode, and the only other thing that I could get out of him was that his favorite part was a part that you guys already talked about, was the cat playing in the
I
box.
know, I
The cat
know.
playing in the box.
That one did make me laugh. I did think that was funny.
Well, that I am glad to hear. So
You
yeah,
laughed, but not belly laughed. You
Right.
just
It
laughed
was
a little bit, like ah ha ha.
yeah, it was like,
yeah,
oh haha,
and
cat doing silly thing.
and Aaron and I are cat people, like, to the
Oh
nth
my
degree.
god.
So cat stuff will like always be like, oh, it's cat stuff. They got us. They got
I
us.
know.
I mean, for
Charlie and
right or
I
for wrong.
Charlie and I send each other cute cat videos and pictures of our cats all the time. We don't really subject Rich to that much because I'm sure he wouldn't appreciate it. But
Thank
so
you.
yeah, we're definitely cat people. So the cat thing, way to go. I always say if I'm in a bad mood, show me a picture of some kittens in a basket like that. I'm fine.
I definitely don't come out of a bad mood by kittens in a basket, but I
Mm,
appreciate that
That's
there are people that do.
it's my weakness.
Oh my goodness gracious me. So, any final thoughts about the episode?
No.
The other thing that I did like was the bit with Rutherford and Stax when I don't know if it was Rutherford that said, "You died. How did you come back?" and it like freaked him out. I don't know if that was Rutherford that said that, but that part made me laugh. Like, oh, you're not supposed to
Mhm.
tell him that he's dead. He doesn't even know he was dead or something. Maybe
Oh, it's a total Sixth Sense moment.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Okay, so yeah, so that's a relatively short part of our episode this week.
There's not as much
but
to talk about with this. It's all Family Guy type,
I
references to
know.
other crap.
Right, and you know what? Maybe when we get Star Trek Prodigy, which I am fairly certain that we're going to hear about that on Star Trek Day, we will be doing the episode after Star Trek Day, which is going to be September 8th. We're going to be doing a full length episode, or at least we may even have to knock other things off so that we can talk about it, depending on how much news there is. But
Just call
I
it
have
a
a very
special episode.
Yes, I have a very strong feeling that we're going to get a drop date for that show and also for Strange New Worlds. That's the buzz, and a trailer. That's the buzz. So,
Strange
at
New
any rate-
Worlds is going to be one that's going to have lots to talk about. Plus, it's got Aaron's
Oh,
baby
yeah.
daddy on it.
Oh, right, exactly. So yeah, so look forward to that. I think 3 or 4 episodes from now we'll be doing that one. So I'll have to check the schedule since I'm the only one who adheres to the schedule. So at any rate, for segment 2, I'm actually going to kick this over to Erin. This was her episode, and actually it's a 2-parter. So this is the first 2-parter that I think we're doing for this. This would be season 6, episodes I think 10 and 11 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, The Chain of Command. So, Erin, it's your show.
So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to read the description of part 1 and 2, and then I'm going to ask you guys some questions because everybody knows that I have very, very strong opinions on things, and you guys know what my take on this is, but I want to know what yours is. So I'm going to kind of take it and then give it back. Um, so this was Chain of Command part 1 and part 2. Part 1, it says Picard, Worf, and Dr. Crusher are reassigned from the Enterprise to a secret mission. Meanwhile, the Enterprise is under the command of Captain Edward Jellyroll, who immediately starts making changes, much to the dismay of the crew. And then part 2, which is I think what we'll talk about the most, is Captain Picard's secret mission fails, leading him to being captured by the Cardassians. As he is tortured by his captors, Captain Jellyroll and the Enterprise attempt to prevent war with the Cardassian Union. So, Charlie, when you were watching this, what kind of, um, what kind of, how do you feel that this relates to our lives, and not necessarily ours specifically, but what goes on in the United States? What did you kind of compare it to?
I'm going to have you come back to me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't wound up for a big answer. So,
Okay.
I do have thoughts, but I might need some time to get it running. So, oh
Okay.
man, put on the spot.
Sorry. Rich, what do you think?
It made me think of Guantanamo Bay and the stuff that was going on there. The things that still go on there, as far as I know, um, the torture and that sort of thing, and the detention of people that aren't being charged with anything. They're just being detained.
How would you compare the torture that you've heard about that happens in Guantanamo Bay to
Like
this?
waterboarding and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. The waterboarding. I mean, I really likened that
the four lights
to
bit.
be the four
Hmm.
Yeah,
lights because it's not torturing somebody where you're cutting them
right.
and you're ripping out their fingernails or something like
Hmm.
that,
Hmm.
Yeah,
but it feels like the same type of psychological torture to me. And I just wanted to know, you know, do you think that that's dead on or
I think it is. I think this is the thing that's terrifying about this is a much more, I think, long lasting effect. I was reading one of the articles that you gave us, and it said something about how um, the effects not only on the victim but also on the torturer last for decades, even longer. And it's
do you remember whenever they had that woman that was posing like taking selfies and posing with people she was torturing?
oh
Do you remember
yeah,
when that
I do
happened?
remember that. Yeah, the army
Um
army soldier, I think it
Yeah,
was.
so it was disgusting.
Yeah,
So I wonder, you know, how much of a psychological effect would it be having on someone for them to do something so horrible and cruel where they're taking fucking selfies with
yeah.
these people like it's not something you should hide or be ashamed of. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it normalizes it. It normalizes the mistreatment of other human beings, and
It does.
I think that is the long lasting effect that we're alluding to here.
How did you feel about the way he tried to torture him by showing him humanity and sharing parts of his life with him and then abruptly taking it away and torturing
I
him?
mean, that's pretty much the MO, isn't it? Like you make them feel like they're your friends. I mean, this is what even police officers do when there's I don't remember who it was. I think it was one of the serial killers, Carrie Staines. He's the one that was in California, the Yosemite guy. He,
Oh,
yeah, when he was picked up, the FBI agent that one of the FBI agents that he was with was kind to him, and the Carrie, the killer, kind of opened up a little bit about like his brother having been abducted when he was younger, and he started to cry a little. He might have been maybe trying to manipulate the FBI agent, but the FBI agent was manipulating him as well, trying to kind of guide him to a confession. he bought pizza with them, for crying out loud. Like the FBI
That's
agent.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they had a guy in Charleston, South Carolina. I mean, this was before Chris and I were dating, so it was before I ever started traveling to Charleston, but it was all over the news nationally. He went into a church. This is a younger white person.
Oh yeah.
I think he was in his early 20s, late teens maybe.
Yep.
He was from Colombia, so he wasn't even from here,
Hmm.
but he went into a black Baptist church where they were doing a prayer group.
Yeah.
They invited him to come in and sit down with them, and he did, and then he killed them.
Yikes.
The cops, when they got him, took him to Burger King.
Wow. To
Oh.
try and get him
After
to trust them, right?
it doesn't matter.
But that's
Everybody was up in arms over this
right.
because if he would have been black, they would have killed
Oh,
him.
of course they
Right.
would have. Yeah.
Of
But
course.
I mean,
Right.
but the police officers, they bought this guy Burger King, and maybe it was because they were trying to manipulate him. I don't know, but I did not have a good reaction when I heard
Yeah.
that they'd done that at all.
Right.
No doubt. Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah, that kid needs to be thrown in jail
absolutely.
without a Burger King sandwich. I don't even know what they have there.
A burger, the Burger King. I
It's
actually
it's
think they do
mostly like
refer
fried
to it.
chicken and stuff at Burger King.
Oh, the Whopper. That's
The
what
Whopper. Yes,
that's
I
what it's
was
called.
I was holding out until you and because I knew it would come to you. So heady subject, you guys, but that was obviously what encompassed most of part 2 of this episode. What did you guys think of? And this is kind of interesting. If I can change gears to still talk about this, away from the torture aspect of it, what did everybody think? And again, all three of us come from varying degrees of a background of family in the military. Rich, you were raised in a military family. Was it your mom and or your dad who was active duty? Was it
My
Air
father.
Force?
My father was
Your
Air
father.
Force until
Yeah.
about 89, 90.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And what did he do?
He was a master sergeant. He was a load master on C-5 aircraft.
Okay, gotcha. My brother, 25 years in the Air Force, he was an avionics tech on the F-16 for the first part of that. And then as an NCO, he was, a supervisor, worked on the Osprey aircraft, which is what he does now for Boeing. And then, Erin, you have some background, I believe, going back to World War II or maybe even more recent.
I mean, all the men on my dad's side of the family have been, including my dad, have been in the military, namely the Navy. That's
Okay.
their thing. My dad was on two different naval vessels. One's called the USS Dahlgren, and the other one was called the USS Mullenix. He worked in engineering in the boiler room.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
then
Okay.
he went to college and became an actual engineer. So
Awesome.
my dad's not a typical military stereotype, though, at all. He's
Right.
like a very eccentric, liberal-minded. He's not in love with the military. He thinks Vietnam, even though he was in it, was a mistake.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the background I came from. But my grandfather was in World War II, and he was very proud of it.
Right. Yeah, and it was case with both of my grandfathers on my mother's side. My grandfather Haran is a Marine because you're never not a Marine, even though he's passed away. He was on seven different islands in the Pacific, including Peleliu, which was a hellacious 7-month slog of bloody slaughter in against the Japanese. My grandfather Carden was a naval combat photographer, which kind of set the path of our family of being photographers. And my dad was a naval reservist. So I've got a lot of interest and respect in the military. But the reason that I'm even bringing any of this up is that focusing on, in particular, the first episode in this, and then obviously playing out in parts of the second episode that were not related to the torture aspect, was, like you said, Captain Jelly Roll, who came in. And again, in Star Trek, we're always used to one guy is the captain of the Enterprise forever. It's like it's a lifetime job. So everybody loves Captain Picard. There's super jive with the way he does stuff, and everybody in Starfleet is cool. Well, then we get a guy who comes in and he says, "Yeah, I'm the new captain." It's like he's your new stepdad. So he's like, "We're not going to do it this way. Bedtime is going to be 8:00 instead of 10:00. No more McDonald's on Tuesdays. Pork chop night is out." This guy just comes in and starts doing shit his way, but
But that's
that's the military.
It's not just the military, that's any sort of management. Like when
Right.
you step into a
True.
new role, that's what you're supposed to do.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
I I thought he was a dick, but I don't think that he did anything wrong, even though you still kind of hate him. You hate
Right.
Jelly Roll in this
Exactly.
episode. I especially liked him telling Deanna Troy that her outfit was inappropriate.
Word, exactly. And we were talking about this, kind of our new, just so listeners know if you don't tune in, we do for the Grand Petoskey a weekly watch party, which is run by Rich, and it's often sometimes just the three of us, sometimes some other folks join in. But we were watching this episode, and I was like, "Hold on, guys, this is one of the last episodes you get to see Troy in her cosmic cheerleader bunny suit." You know what I mean? Because after this, he was like, "I need you to dress appropriately, so wear a uniform." And that's what
I
she did for the rest of the series, which I'm totally down with.
I am against people sexualizing women based on what they're wearing, and I think that women should have the right to wear whatever makes them feel comfortable, and I think people should be more relaxed about showing skin. Like the whole spaghetti strap thing in schools, I think is ridiculous. Let girls wear whatever they want, especially if you're going to, make masks not mandatory, then I don't think that, you know, t-shirts should be mandatory. Let people be comfortable so that their bodies can breathe.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, to your point too, Starfleet is at the end of the day a military organization.
Right,
A-
which is something that gets really shied away from,
And
but I think this episode really
uniform
nailed it,
is so that everyone's dressed uniformly.
Correct.
and appropriately. Yes.
Right. So I thought that that was a good move on his part,
Mhm.
and I thought it was nice to not see her so sexualized by the show just for a minute, even though it was just supposed to make him look like a jerk and maybe
Right.
men disappointed they didn't get to see sexy Deanna.
Right.
But I kind of liked that decision he made.
I
I
think
agree.
I think that the
Don't worry.
decisions.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't worry, viewers. Wait a few years. Voyager will come on, and 7 of 9 will always wear a skimpy outfit.
Yeah, that the
Yeah.
Just got to be patient.
Well, or Kira.
Right, skin tight outfits, exactly.
Mhm.
So even when they switch to DS9 and then later the First Contact uniforms that come after that, the DS9 uniforms, which you saw throughout Voyager, they're black, which means black is kind of formless in a lot of way. You don't really like, ooh, look at that.
Rich has something to say.
I do.
I'm sorry, Rich. Please, please. Yeah, he even raised his hand. Good lad. I apologize.
What I was going to say about this Jellicoe situation is that they set it up so that you would hate him.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's not a dislikable character. Actually, he makes a lot of sense, and a lot of what he says and does actually makes a lot of sense militarily and as far as the structure of the story goes, everything. But he is so far removed from the way that Picard is, and the characters all react to him in that
Agreed.
way.
Agreed.
You, as an audience member, are like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Pump the brakes! This is not our Enterprise anymore, and this is not cool
Right.
with me."
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think that saying that you hate Admiral Jellicoe is kind of foisted on you by the writers and by the design of the episode. So
Right. It was a
It
bent to
is.
kind of really make you feel that way.
mhm.
And if you really look from start to finish, Admiral Nechayev, who is a very unlikable female admiral who comes in at the beginning of the episode, says that, you know what, this Jellicoe dude has the experience with the Cardassians. This mission is about the Cardassians. He's going to be captain of the ship because I need him to accomplish this mission. And he does it.
Mhm.
They pull, and again, Starfleet says, you know what? Picard's got the experience with this theta band, as they say. Everybody has British both. I noticed that too when I was watching both the Cardassian uh, enemy, basically antagonist in this, the exceptional David Warner has a British accent, and so does Picard. Neither one of them are British. It's fascinating. Um, but at the end of the day, Jellicoe really does know what he's doing. He really does know how to deal with the Cardassians. In the end, his mission is a success, and then he leaves. The guy did what he was supposed to do. You're right. Maybe he didn't make any friends along the way, but as we all know, that's not a requirement sometimes of doing your job, especially if you're the boss.
You know,
The one thing though, I do have a criticism, which is he didn't exactly inspire the people working under him to do their best because of his attitude. Get it
Right.
done.
yeah.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that's where I think he really failed at his job, because
Hmm.
that's part of your job, especially if you're a military commander. You need to keep your people safe. and you need to inspire them to do their best. And he
Right.
failed in that regard.
Exactly correct. So yeah,
Very
that
good
is,
point.
and that's something when he and Riker have the showdown. That's one of my favorite, ship-based scenes in this episode when Jellicoe has to go to Riker because it's been pointed out by Geordi that Riker's the guy that you want to fly this mission because he's the guy. And he says, let's drop the ranks for a minute. Jellicoe says to Riker, I don't like you. I think you're insubordinate, willful, and I don't think you're a very good first officer. And blah, blah, blah. I still want you to do this mission. And Riker says, well, since the ranks are dropped, Captain, I don't like you either. I'm trying to remember the line. He says, you are arrogant and closed-minded. He says, you need to control everything and everyone. You don't create an air of trust, and you don't inspire these people to go out of their way for you. You've got everyone wound up so tight, there's no joy in any of it. I don't think you're a particularly good captain. Oh, I remember seeing this episode when I was 16, almost 16, maybe 17 when it was on the first time. And I was like, sticking it to the man. Of course, I love Riker too, so that helped as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you fanboy about Riker all the
I
time.
did. I was
so
like,
it's not like... But
He's my
Riker
guy.
is the voice of the audience in that particular spot too. He's
Absolutely
correct. He's telling him exactly what the rest of us are thinking. So
right, exactly correct. So
can I bring this
please.
back around to the torture aspect that Erin was talking about?
Yes.
We're talking about Starfleet as a military organization, and this is probably going to get me a lot of hate, but that's some of the tactics that they talk about are kind of the similar tactics that they use in basic training.
Right? Psychological,
break someone down, make them compliant,
again.
make them follow into a specific line. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that the U.S. military employs torture tactics on our soldiers, but I mean that's another way that you could look at this. The Cardassians, they're a military organization. That's what they do. That's why they're so fearful, right?
Do you think whenever the government is torturing people, they kind of do what he did and play people that they're with against them? Like, I'll just go get what I want out of the female you were with.
Right.
I'm sure they do.
Right. Yeah.
That's what police officers do.
Well, yeah, it's true.
I mean,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that when they're torturing people, they do that. I don't have any evidence to back that up. That's just a gut instinct based on everything else based on everything else that I've seen from other people in authoritarian power like that.
That's really, really disturbing and horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible, but obviously because it works, that's why people who have no morals or scruples employ that.
It doesn't necessarily work because, sometimes you get so beat down by something that you just want it to stop that you'll tell them what you think that they want to hear. That's why people get wrongfully convicted all the time. So I don't think it works. I think it gets you answers. They might not be true.
It gets you what you want to hear. And Charlie, I would say that it's not the people that are employing the tactics that have no morals or scruples. I would say it's the people that are telling those people what to do. Because in the military, they say you do. You don't have a choice. You either do it,
handed down. You
either do it or your ass is in the brig.
I have to disagree with you. And I only say that because people who worked at concentration camps that beat Jews and killed them said that they were just following orders at the Nuremberg trials, which they lost because they're not. So you are accountable for your actions.
That's
right.
True. Okay, that's a really good point. That's
accountability.
That's a really, really good point, Erin. I think, I stand corrected. That's a really good point because you have to have something that would allow you to do that.
Right. You have to be held responsible. You have to.
There's something inside you that lets that is okay with what you're doing.
I'm saying the person that's telling you to do it should probably be punished worse.
Yeah.
But if you're complicit in that, you need to be punished. That's wrong.
That is one of those like, no, I refuse to comply, and they point a gun to your head and said, no, carry out my orders. It's the stuff that lore of what movies are made exactly. But there's no doubt that there can be accountability required for all of these kinds of things. So you guys, we could talk about this for hours and days, but this is
I would love it if we did that.
Yeah. I'm sure you would. I don't know that anybody would stay tuned in, but regardless, Erin, this was a great grab. You really did a good job with this one, and so I'm impressed. You guys, the power of the power of the three of us, I would say the two of you, because you guys are a little bit more insightful than me. I'm all Star Trek, blah blah blah. You guys are a little bit more thoughtful, so that's why I think we make a good team.
I think that what we're doing here is great and it's very important. So
Absolutely. God, yes.
something that I'm gonna do whenever we do this segment is like I did last time. I'm gonna send some links just that's food for thought that you can read in your free time before we do it. And it might inspire you a little bit, Charlie, because
Okay.
obviously Rich and I are all gung ho about this and Star Trek, but
Gung ho, like
I
the military.
I think you're a very smart, liberal-minded person, and I think you have a lot
Thank
to
you.
contribute.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, final thoughts before we move on to the news, and then we move on down the road.
I'm good, I think.
As far as final thoughts for me, I don't have anything else
Oh,
to say.
I have
Sorry.
one more.
Yeah.
There's always something.
Sorry.
No, not at all.
No, but we have to circle kind of back to the beginning, because I'm wondering how you guys feel about them sending 3 officers. Now, Picard was the expert, but Beverly really isn't, and Worf really isn't, sending the 3 of them to something that they even say they don't think they'll ever return from. Our chances of success are very low, is what they said. How do you feel about them sacrificing 3 kind of like senior members of the flagship to do that?
That does seem rather dubious. And again, you're right. They could have simply found, but it's like, who would they send?
I don't know, some sort of muscle that's
Well,
not Worf on the flagship,
couple red
and
shirts.
I mean,
and
Worf is the muscle.
and
But
another doctor that's also not on the flagship.
I was going to say, it's entirely possible that you say, "Oh, I'm the best person for the job." It could is simply mean that, what, we needed to get this done immediately. The Enterprise happened to be within, half a sector of where they needed to go, and
As
it was like, we
always.
had to do this as always.
Okay,
It's just,
but they had time for Jelly Roll to get there because he's a Cardassian expert. So I'm not buying they were the closest.
And they had time to do a change of command ceremony too.
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
time
you're right.
to make all these arrangements.
Yeah.
So I'm not buying that. I just think it's kind of like poor writing, and there's nothing I can liken it to.
Right.
It's pretty consistent. Convenient TV writing convenience. I agree with you there.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's
a
what you
sign
would
of the
expect from a
times,
TV
though.
show.
It's a sign of the times. I mean, we're talking about 90s serialized television. That's
Yeah,
what you
okay.
do. But
Right, exactly.
but
Very good.
To your point, to speak about that specific scene or that specific sequence of scenes, the bits with Picard and Crusher and Worf in those black uniforms made me think of The Big Lebowski. We talked about that.
I
was expecting
loved those uniforms.
I wanted like Picard to be running after somebody with gigantic scissors,
Oh my
cut them
gosh.
off, Lebowski, like.
And like I said, the thing that cracked me out is how Bev's weave was teased out the front.
I kind of like that. I know, because she had that tight hood on. I don't know. I kind of really dug on those outfits. I thought that they were really cool.
And you don't end up seeing the closest analogy and you see it a little earlier in TNG, but no, you actually see it in this season when Beverly has to remember the episode where Beverly has to operate on Worf because his spine was crushed and she's going to replace it. They wear those red smocks, but they have like these weird, like David Cronenberg looking headdress things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that to me was the closest analogy. Is that the weird surgical, like, that's how they cover the hair up, is they give him, it's like this, I won't say it's like this geometric shape. I'm not finding the right expression for it, but you know what I'm talking about. So
it kind of looks like a Pope hat.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
What was it by
Beverly Crusher the Third? There's your title.
Dennis Leary talking about my Catholic religion, my former Catholic religion, as it were, saying, I can't put faith in a religion that gives you power based on the size of your hat. Ouch. Ooh, that one fell flat.
You didn't tell very well.
The Pope must have a huge, Jesus must have a big sombrero. So anyway.
That was like Michael Scott trying to do the Chris Rock thing, dude. Come on.
In fairness, you were talking about a comedian that I don't particularly think is very funny. He's never made me laugh, so your delivery of his joke was probably got a better reaction than when he did it.
Hot take, he stole most of his material from Bill Hicks. Oh.
The late Mo Hicks, as I
takes.
recall.
Hot
Hot takes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we could just riff about Dennis Leary and her hatred of and Erin's dislike of him for the long ways. But let's get into the news. We do have three stories this week,
and they're all really good stories, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's move things around, and the third story will be the first story, and Erin's going to talk about it.
Oh, hold on.
I gotcha.
Third
you did.
Story?
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
So, Star Trek Prodigy adds sci-fi veterans Jimmy Simpson and John Noble to the cast. We just added this right before we started airing this, and Rich and I had the same reaction,
Yes.
which was John Noble. No offense, Jimmy Simpson.
Right.
I'm sure you're a nice guy, but
Right.
we don't care as much. John Noble and Jimmy Simpson are on this. Of course, John Noble. He was in Lord of the Rings. He was in that show Fringe.
Yep.
Right. He was a disposable villain in 24. I know Rich will appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
John Noble's middle name is
lot.
Freaking.
Is John freaking Noble? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he did a lot of stuff. I feel bad. I don't really know anything about this other guy.
Oh, I love that John Noble's character is going to be called Dreadnought, like from G.I. Joe. That's awesome.
And he's credited with doing 10 episodes. So I think he's in the whole thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, assuming that this will be a 10-episode deal, and I'm telling you, I feel like we're gonna finally get a drop. You like Lower Decks is coming on, or Prodigy is coming on next month, and we're gonna find out about that. On Star Trek
John
Day.
Noble was in a movie that I just watched actually yesterday. It's called The Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It. I do not.
Oh yeah.
Not recommend that movie. It is absolutely horrid. But
did it give you diarrhea?
It almost did. It almost did. But I was on my phone a lot, so.
Let's pivot away from the diarrhea conversation, but we watched that one too. That's the latest one, right, Rich? Didn't that just come out recently?
Yeah, I think so. My wife loves them, so I always make sure.
And
now we know why Rich's camera's actually off. It's because he watched that movie.
I had diarrhea.
Oh my god!
I had diarrhea out of my nose. That's what it is.
And you're sitting on the toilet.
I am. I'm on the toilet right now.
We watch all of those too, and I believe that one wasn't that a Warner Brothers? So it was on HBO.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not pay attention during any of it. It was so disengaging.
How about for another hot take? They're all kind of garbage movies. Plus, they're based on a couple of hoaxes. Like they're based on a couple of frauds. Those two people are frauds.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, never mind. Let's get back to Star Trek.
Okay.
That sounds good to me. So anyway, any other thoughts about these two coming out? I think this
just want to say
raises things up.
Jimmy Simpson was on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Westworld. Because I don't want to leave him out. I feel terrible now that I was just like, whoever.
Who does
and
it
he's
say
great.
Who he played in It's Always Sunny?
He was one of the it was two brothers and a sister.
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny, and
it
was the sister. She had the unibrow.
Yeah,
It was always licking her lips in a super creepy way. Yeah, that was that one. So
yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, I'm fired up about this. And like I said, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say that there's a good chance we will know more about when this is coming out on Star Trek Day and our extensive special episode. Maybe we will do a special episode, guys. What do you think? Do you want to record a special episode like on Star Trek Day? And like crank it out same day.
Well, why don't we do it like after Star Trek Day so we can see all the panels and everything?
That makes more sense.
Okay. So just a regular episode then. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I think we do a dedicated special episode to Star Trek Day, and then we can do our regular thing later or another day.
I will modify the schedule. Okay, so moving on to a story that can't you guys help me make a bigger deal of this?
Nope.
Something that is just driving me nuts.
Nope.
3 of the Star Trek series are leaving Netflix in September, signaling what I think is to be the most flippin' obvious franchise consolidation.
Wait. We do have a lot of Canadian listeners, and we did talk about this. So
we did. But let me
find a workaround for you guys. So it wasn't that flippin' obvious, like Charlie said. He takes that back, but he does have a workaround for you that he's going to give you now.
I was so glad that I actually got a chance to speak and that you didn't take all my words away. More to the point, yes, you're right. It is very critical that there's a workaround for this. But my overall point was the thing that I'm seeing on social media is that this is somehow surprising.
Okay.
Paramount Plus has been around since 2017. Okay, they came out when Star Trek Discovery dropped at the end of that year, and I believe it. And I'm not certain, but I believe their service at that time also had the bulk of the rest of the Star Trek shows. In time, they became the exclusive home of Star Trek: The Animated Series, aka Rich and I Don't Give a Shit, the animated series. And yeah, it was to me, it seemed fairly predestined that, and again, looking at the way things are in the United States with Paramount Plus, that eventually everything would find an exclusive home at Paramount Plus because it's their streaming service. They own the series, the old content, the new content. So to go out there and see people who are like, "Oh, this is going to destroy Netflix because this is horrible. What am I going to do now? I'm never going to see Star Trek ever again." And that's when I segue it back to Rich, and he likes to talk about physical media. So, Rich, what's the straight deal on streaming media and actually owning it?
Okay, so when you buy something on a digital platform, you don't actually own it. You own it as long as that digital platform is still around. They will take that right away from you. And sometimes even in a situation when a studio might say, you know what, we're not going to let this be on streaming anymore. For example, I think the Deer Hunter was available and then it wasn't.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I mean, for people that may or may not care about that movie, I of course do. But the example is, I had it and then it was gone.
Right.
And I
exactly.
owned it. I quote unquote owned it. You don't own it. When I own something, I'm not going to show you because I'm not on camera. But when I own something, when I have my physical copies of the Star Trek movies or the Star Trek series,
Yes.
I have them. Nobody's coming to take those away, and they will
Right.
never take them away from you. But I think more to the point of this topic, Charlie, I haven't seen anybody complaining about this.
You know what, and maybe it's just the posts that I've seen. It doesn't mean that they're not out there, and it doesn't mean that you won't turn on Facebook after we start talking, and then all of a sudden you'll see one.
Yeah.
You
Are
probably
you
just
guys
you've
are you
just seen
guys
me bitching about it.
are you guys familiar with the website Bandcamp?
But there's a
I
website called
am-
Bandcamp.
I
Yeah.
am because
Never heard
it's
of it.
they have it gets mentioned on the Weekly Planet, which is a podcast I love.
So, Rich, you would actually be interested in this. It's a way for basically artists to sell their own music.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, so that they don't. So a lot of them are doing this more and more. A lot of them are doing like releases that are only on Bandcamp, which is kind of cool. So if there's any like particular bands that you like, go to Bandcamp and look them up. They may have stuff that you have access to there that you don't have anywhere else.
I would
Oh,
love that.
Anyway,
I'm going to.
That is exciting. I'm a big music junkie too,
there's
but
a
I've never
band
dug around.
called the Severed Heads that I like, but they're
Love
they're
them.
also they're Australian. They did a lot of stuff in the 80s, but they had this experimental country western album that's not really country western that I used to own on vinyl that I really liked. So I couldn't find it anywhere on iTunes, so I found it on their Bandcamp. And they sent me this really, really nice email that basically said, to make space, we're going to remove some of our less popular albums that really nobody's downloading. So
Oh,
if you
okay.
have purchased this, you're going to lose it. So you need to download it and then you can keep it forever because you downloaded
Oh,
it.
okay. Okay.
And I appreciated that so much, and I wish that these other companies would do the same thing.
Right. Because you purchased it. So,
Because I purchased it. So they're like, you now have the opportunity to download it so it can be yours. Thank you. But it won't be hosted here anymore.
right. So, more to the point, to just try to put a bow on this. Yes, there obviously not everything is Paramount Plus. There are other services. I know that Discovery and Picard are available internationally on Netflix or available internationally on Amazon Prime. It's always going to vary. But more to the point, if you stream it or you think you're always going to find it on a streamer, you're incorrect. So to think that this is the end of the world or this is so unfair, this is just, as Rich mentioned in our last episode, this is simply the corporate overlords doing what they do. This is a
Can you
business. This is a
can you
business thing. It was a license. It expired, and now it's going somewhere else.
can you let our Canadian friends know what the workaround is for them?
Yeah, please do.
I did not actually look into that. Aaron, did you? I thought we were kind of
Oh
speaking
no,
hypothetically.
I thought you said it was a done deal. You checked and they could do it through their Prime membership.
Yeah, it's through Prime.
I was at the very least I was speaking to a Canadian friend a little bit earlier today who said that he was watching Lower Decks on a Canadian service called Crave, which I've heard of before.
Yeah, that's how some people watch it. Other people watch it on Netflix, so they may
Right.
have to just get Crave. Maybe Crave will have all of them.
It's entirely possible, but I think to Rich's point, if you are really up in arms about this, my fondest recommendation, go to Amazon, bite the bullet, and buy the seasons. Complete seasons are available for a lot less money than you would think.
Guys, you can
That's
find them at half-price books for $10 a pop, too.
right.
Yeah.
You will never
Buy-
have to worry about this being a case again.
buying the lo-fi, but otherwise, you know what, save your money, ask for it for your birthday, get it for Christmas, do something. But yeah, if you really want to never be in fear of like, I wanted to watch this one episode and I can't find it. It may not be available at the touch of a button. You may have to go and pull a disc out and put it in and this and that, but it is yours.
That's another thing there, is that sometimes they will remove episodes that may have
right,
implications,
objectionable content,
like
right,
It's
exactly.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia or South Park or something like that. On streaming,
They
they
did.
will take those episodes off.
Yeah, they did that with some episodes of The Office, I remember.
They're only
with
interested in protecting their brand, guys. Their corporate
Exactly.
brand. If you buy the stuff and you store it on your own house, they're not coming to get it.
Yeah,
And
wasn't there that one episode of the X-Files that they won't show? The one with like the messed up family?
Yeah.
So you can
the incest one. Yeah, I know the one
yeah,
you're
so you
talking
can only watch that if you have it on DVD or
Exactly.
whatever.
The Simpsons
So, yeah,
episode
so-
with Michael Jackson you can't find anywhere either.
Oh,
You have
good
got
point.
to buy the Simpsons season with that episode on it to be able
Which
to watch
is which is so more to the point. I would love it if Amazon would swoop in and give us a couple of bucks as we're plugging the shit out of them. Go buy the discs, and even if you never watch them, they are your backup plan. So yeah. So anyway, okay, let's move on. Final story. Rich, you haven't gotten a chance to take on a story. You want this one?
Which one's the final story?
The All About Star Trek Day.
Oh, the Star Trek Day. Yeah, the Star Trek Day thing is fantastic. There are going to be tons of panels on Star Trek Day 2021 live. It's going to be hosted by Will Wheaton and Mika Burton.
Woo-woo.
It's going to be conversations and panels with cast members, creatives, from everywhere, from all over, including the new stuff from Paramount Plus. And it's going to be great. And like like Charlie said, we're going to break it all down for you in a special episode.
I cannot wait for this panel on Strange New Worlds. It looks awesome.
I
Did you see who's
know.
on it, Charlie?
I will do that right now. Who's on it? Just tell me. I'm sorry. I have to scroll to the bottom.
Ethan Peck, Rebecca Romaine, and my baby daddy.
Woo! I have been, from a cosplay standpoint, I do Captain Pike. I love that character. My best friend Miranda does number one. She's got the look. We don't have a Spock. We need a Spock. If you are listening to the sound of my voice and you're a cosplayer, let's say you live in Michigan and you want to hook up with me and my friend and have the new holy trilogy of cosplay, we will interview Spocks. So feel free to reach out to me via social media or through the Grand Petoskey because we need a Spock.
I have a question about the legacy portion of the panels.
Yes.
Did you see who the legacy person is from Deep Space Nine?
Is Sirach Lofton?
Yeah.
Jake?
Jake Sisko.
That just kind of threw me because he's like a very minor main character.
He's a non-entity as far as fandom goes. He's just not
And
because
I
again
feel
he was
bad. I'm
he
not
was
trying to
yeah.
insult him, but
Well, I know what you mean.
But I've looked at it and I was like, really? Okay.
Well, if you look at it's funny, the first two, you have Sirach Lofton
Yeah.
from DS9 and Anthony Montgomery from Star Trek Enterprise. And again, Rich, I know that you've not seen much of Enterprise at all,
Just
but
the first
he
season.
was the helmsman, and and then again, the third character is Garrett Wong from Voyager, who's Ensign Kim, who we enjoyed, but Anthony Montgomery didn't do jack shit on that show on Enterprise. He really, I'm, and again, I apologize for insulting him. Not his fault at all.
But those last three, I would be like, you know what? They are a legacy of that series.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
Yeah, exactly.
The other ones, I'm like, maybe they couldn't get anybody. I mean, I know that Nana Visitor, or is her name Nana?
Nana.
I think it's
Nana is how I
Sorry.
usually hear. That's how I hear her name pronounced. But yeah, I get it.
Okay, but she does stuff all the time. Was she not available or not interested?
time.
Because
Could
she's always doing stuff. I'm just kind of shocked, I guess.
Yeah, I mean her, or you see
Michael
Terry
Dorn.
Farrell.
Michael Dorn
You
would have
see
been a good take.
You see Terry Farrell more back in the spotlight with Star Trek things. She's now married to Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
Or
So
what about our boy JG?
Oh,
Or obviously Ezra Dax, who also, Nicole DeBoer.
JG
who gave us the
Hertzler would have
shout-out.
been great.
Yeah, so you're right. I think their legacy. You're right. That was an obvious this is who we got. But they were like, and this is a variation on Meatloaf. 3 out of 5 ain't bad. Somebody give me a verse.
Nope, not doing it.
We don't do Meatloaf.
I was wailing to that song when I was driving home on Friday night. That came on, and I was just,
do know a
blowing it
guy. I know a guy who looks like Meatloaf that we call Mike Loaf because his name's Mike.
That's
but
fantastic.
that's all I got.
I think the episode just got a name.
Mike Loaf.
3 out of 5 or Mike Loaf. 3 out of 5 ain't bad by Mike Loaf.
There you go.
Name of the episode. Oh my God.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? My father was always fond of saying in reference to golf, always end on a good one. That was a good one. So let's bring the show.
We can't, Charlie.
Why
because not? Because you have to go down to the bottom of the Star Trek Day article. There's there's a piece of swag for you.
Yeah, there's swag. And there's a discount on said swag.
Yeah. Discounted swag.
Charlie, you're all about swag and discounts, dude. Come on.
But why would I want to mention that? How does this profit me? I don't know. I may actually have to buy this shirt, though. Yeah, you're right.
I know.
It does say on September 8th, fans can use the code Star Trek Day 20 for a 20% discount at the shop, of which you can get what looks like a crew neck sweatshirt. Now, with fall coming, perfection. I like it.
You're going to wear it as a Christmas sweater. I know it.
Oh, I should.
Oh my God. You know what? If T Public, our swag vendor, did sweaters like that, I'd be totally down.
You're going to put little Christmas lights on it, and you're going
to
wear it to holiday parties.
We should do an ugly holiday sweatshirt or t-shirt or ugly holiday sweater episode.
I actually have a Star Trek ugly Christmas sweater that I wear.
Oh my God. Well, I'll do you one better. I will challenge you, Erin, to help Rich and I find ugly Star Trek sweaters so that we can wear. And on a December episode of this very program, we can all be wearing them.
Let's do it.
Well, mine just has Picard, and it says "Make it snow."
Oh God.
That
sounds ugly. It sounds ugly. I'm in.
You're right. It's exactly. All right. Well, with that, Rich, why don't you go ahead and take us out of here?
All right. For more information about Starfleet International, please visit the USS Grand Petoskey and the USS Nomad on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. And with that, I'm going to tell you, as always, friends, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring and to keep on trekking.
Kapla.
And there are 4 lights.
There are 5 lights.
4.
Code 47 is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for our great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, or the podcast platform of your choice. If you would like to be part of the conversation, visit our new Discord server, or join us on Facebook, or follow us at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends on YouTube, and don't forget to visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.